The end of the Second World War revealed a terrifying new reality. Any future global conflict meant the total extinction of the human race. To quantify humanity's proximity to complete destruction, scientists created the Doomsday Clock. It provided a literal, numerical measure of survival. Confronted with this paralyzing fear, leadership in both the United States and the Soviet Union reacted by attempting to exert uncompromising control over every possible earthly variable. If an action offered even a fraction of a strategic advantage, it was taken. Basic morality was instantly discarded in favor of survival. In the United States, this meant securing the minds behind advanced military technology. Through a covert program called Operation Paperclip, the U.S. government secretly recruited former Nazi scientists, like Wernher von Braun, directly into their own ranks. The result was a rapid transformation of German V-2 rocket technology into highly capable American missile systems, harnessing immense destructive power for the Cold War. The Soviet Union pursued its own geographic strategy for dominance. They utilized forced Gulag prisoner labor to carve entirely new, closed administrative cities like Arzamas-16 out of the wilderness. These sprawling nuclear research centers were completely erased from maps. Official census data was altered, ensuring the scientists living inside were perfectly isolated from the outside world. By hoarding the world's most dangerous minds behind barbed wire and classified files, both superpowers successfully set the stage for a conflict fought entirely in the paranoid shadows. Securing physical weapons was only the first step. As the standoff dragged on, systemic paranoia grew over who within these secure facilities could actually be trusted. This paranoia was justified. The CIA was continually fed disinformation by scores of double agents pretending to work for the U.S., while British intelligence was severely compromised from the inside by the Cambridge 5 spy ring. Because determining true loyalty through standard interrogations proved impossible, intelligence agencies decided to go straight to the source. They attempted to hack the human mind itself. Under the CIA's MK-Ultra program, researchers drafted extreme proposals. They explored ways to manipulate stimulus response pathways, aiming to erase an individual's memories and force absolute compliance against a subject's will. These tests were carried out on unwitting human subjects who were physically hooked into electronic manipulation networks and polygraph machines to measure their biological responses. The harder these agencies tried to scientifically mandate and control the human mind, the more chaotic, unreliable, and dangerous human intelligence became. If human psychology was too fragile and impossible to secure, military strategists reached a terrifying logical conclusion. Control of the apocalypse had to be handed over to machines. The Soviet Union built the ultimate failsafe for mutual assured destruction. They called it the dead hand system. This diagram illustrates the strict automated logic of dead hand. The machine was designed to trigger a global nuclear strike based solely on two conditions: ground sensors detecting a nuclear hit on Moscow, combined with a total loss of communication with Soviet leadership. Operating entirely blind, the system stripped away all human context. Once parameters were met, launch commands went straight to the silos. In a desperate quest for perfect safety, humanity had built a literal doomsday machine, reducing the survival of the species to a string of automated binary code. On October 27, 1962, the climax of the Cuban Missile Crisis, decades of this theoretical paranoia solidified into an immediate physical reality. Out in the Sargasso Sea, United States Navy destroyers were aggressively hunting a Soviet Foxtrot-class submarine to enforce the quarantine line around Cuba. Deep underwater, the Soviet crew was completely cut off from Moscow. They were enduring 50 degrees Celsius heat and choking on rising carbon dioxide levels inside the hull. Above them, American forces began dropping practice depth charges to force the submarine to the surface. The U.S. commanders were completely ignorant of the sheer terror these explosions were causing the blind, suffocating crew below. Under the relentless assault and extreme sensory deprivation, Captain Valentin Savitsky suffered a psychological collapse. Hearing the explosions, he became fully convinced World War III had already begun on the surface. All the billions of dollars spent on systemic control, elaborate spy networks, and automated machines had funneled down to the panicked mind of a single man pushed past his breaking point. What the American destroyers did not know was the terrifying payload this specific Foxtrot submarine was carrying, a fully armed, operational nuclear torpedo. Believing his country was already under attack, Captain Savitsky issued a fatal, desperate command. He ordered his men to prepare the nuclear torpedo for an immediate retaliatory launch. A launch of this magnitude was governed by a strict Soviet protocol known as the multiple key system, requiring the unanimous consent of 3 top officers on board the vessel. One of those men was Vasily Arkhipov. Standing firm against his panicked captain, Arkhipov simply refused to authorize the strike, breaking the chain of command and the protocol of war. Governments spent decades and billions of dollars on psychological protocols and automated doomsday machines. In the end, human restraint proved more reliable than any of these systemic controls. Humanity spent decades attempting to systemize the apocalypse, yet we survived